Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Ben, and I'll be your moderator for today's test drive session. So, like I said, my name is Ben. Should we have one or two persons maybe open their mic to just introduce themselves while we get this session started?
Hi, I'm Sadiq. I'm a software engineer. Happy to be here.
Hi, Sadiq. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, so let's have it. Let's have it. One or two persons, then we forge ahead.
Hi, I'm Ezekiel from Bauchi, and I'm the QA engineer.
Hi. Welcome. Nice to meet you. All
Hi,
right, so
hi everyone.
hi Gerard.
Yeah, my name is Gerard. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
We're happy to have you two here. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so today we're having our test drive session. This is our 8.0 program, and I believe today we're going to have lots of fun and have an insightful moment. We're going to learn from our moderator today. So, with that being said, this is Scandium. I'd like to introduce everyone to the platform. So this is Scandium, where Scandium provides a no-code automation tool that allows you to automate your test cases without having to write lines of codes or whatever. It's just to simplify your QA processes, right? And to get to find out more about Scandium, we're on social media. We're on social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. You can check out us. Our handle is at GetScandium. And also our website is www.getscandium.com, where you get to learn more about Scandium and book a session to know more about Scandium. So in just few minutes, if you're with your phones, you can just tap, send a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn, any preferred social media of your choice at the moment. So while we're waiting for you to do that in few minutes or in 2 minutes, let's go, let's tap in. Yeah, we're waiting for you guys. Awesome. Fatolu, thank you. Awesome. All right, so with that being said, for the guys that are just joining us, welcome. Madonna, Sorin, Mustafa, welcome guys. For the guys that are just joining us, welcome. So today we have this interesting topic where our moderator will be talking about the implementing test automation in DevOps by Mary Onuorah. So Mary is a software QA engineer with 4 years of experience in delivering high quality and reliable software products. She has made a significant impact in various organizations, including Reliant Health, Baby Bliss, Indeed, and Moralis. So currently, Mary serves as a consultant at Decagon. where she leverages her extensive experience to guide and mentor emerging talents, contributing to the growth and development of the next generation of software professionals. So that is Mary. So hi Mary.
Hi, Ben. Good morning,
Good
everybody.
good morning, Mary, and it's a pleasure to have you here today. We're here to learn from your experience.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Um, I don't know. I hope I can turn on my camera, or should I just? I was expecting
Yeah,
the.
sure. You're free.
Okay. Just so you see the face behind the behind the microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah. Somebody was raising their hand, or
Oh
was that a mistake?
no, I don't think that should actually be a mistake.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so let me share my screen. Um, Thank you for the introduction. Um, okay, please let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay. Oh yeah, your screen is up now.
Okay, cool. Wait, hold on, excuse me. Okay. I hope you can still see it. Okay.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Awesome. Okay, so like Ben introduced, I'm here to, I'll just keep the introduction for myself. He already did an amazing introduction for me. So I'll just go ahead with the topic of today, or what we going to be talking about today, which is implementing test automation in DevOps. I'd like to ask, have we heard about DevOps before, or do we know anything about DevOps? The
Oh yeah, we
people
have
on the call.
we have Fatulu. Fatulu, please go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that I've heard of devils before. I didn't know if raising my hand would just say that.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Please come again.
Oh, I was just answering the question when you asked, have we heard about devils before?
Oh, in the chat, right?
Oh yeah, so it's indicating that he has heard of DevOps before.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, great. Okay, so he has heard of DevOps. I don't know if there's any other person that has heard of DevOps, but yeah.
Yes, we also have Alabi Israel too.
Okay, so yeah. I actually asked so that I'll know the audience I'm talking to, if they know what I'm talking about, or if they've heard about it before now, right? But yeah, so I start by introducing what DevOps is, and that's what led to the question, what is DevOps? So personally, I define DevOps with 3 points, or three main points, which is the first one is practice, tool, and cultural philosophy. So I define DevOps as a practice, I define DevOps as a tool, and as a cultural philosophy. And so what is DevOps as a practice? Sorry. So DevOps as a practice involves those methodologies, processes, and principles aiming to that aims to improve collaboration, communication between the development team and the operations team, right? To ensure that a high quality software is produced and released, right? So this is DevOps as a practice. Now, DevOps as a tool, this involves those technologies, those platforms that help to facilitate these processes and principles of DevOps that aids us to achieve this aim of deploying a high quality software, right? At efficiently and effectively, right? Which is also a major point of DevOps. Then the last one is DevOps as a cultural philosophy. Aside from the DevOps as a practice and as a tool, DevOps, this represents a cultural shift in an organization, right? So most organizations are using DevOps. So it's a kind of a shift to some of the traditional ways of software development, right? Now, within an organization. Now, it is very important because it helps to foster a culture of communication. So in the sense that it's not just about having communication, but it goes beyond that to like ensure that we imbibe a culture, an organizational culture of collaboration and communication among the entire team, the development team, the operations team, and all the teams that are involved in when it comes to software development and deployment, right? So this is the way I define DevOps, right? I mean, if you have any other contrary understanding of what DevOps is, please, I would like to see it in the comment section. Okay, so there are some key points and principles of DevOps, which I've listed here. You cannot actually talk about DevOps without mentioning these things or without having these points come to mind. And some of these points are collaboration and communication, like I already stated when defining what DevOps is. Then we talk about the continuous integration and continuous delivery, which is CI/CD for short. Then the automation. We have, and automation here doesn't necessarily mean automated test alone, right? We talk about automated tests, we talk about automating the infrastructure, talk about automating the process of ensuring your DevOps flow, like your DevOps flow basically, right? So it's not just about automated tests. I know for some QAs, when they hear automation, they just think it's writing automated test or maybe automating your test alone. So then we have the infrastructure as a code. So what does this mean? This is referring to your managing your infrastructure, managing your infrastructures, and some of these, I listed some of the tools that helps with achieving this, like the AWS, that's your Amazon Web Services, Pulumi, Google Cloud Platforms, and other platforms like Terraform and the rest of them. Then we have the monitoring and logging, then continuous testing, and then security, which in other words known as DevSecOps. And so these are some of the key points that when you talk about DevOps, you cannot but have to mention some of these points or these components or these principles, right? I'm not going into explaining each of them because that's not the major reason why we're here. So on my next slide, you would see where I talk about roles of tests automation in DevOps. So our topic of today is implementing test automation in DevOps. So the first thing is we need to understand the role that test automation is actually playing when it comes to DevOps. then we can now go further to say, okay, how do we now like implement it, or ways to actually go about automating these. So first of all, test automation is a very critical component of DevOps. You can see it in the previous slide where I mentioned this thing, and it helps to facilitate faster and a more reliable software development and deployment, right? So some of the roles it actually plays in DevOps practices, I've pointed out here in a bullet point. So the first one is it helps to accelerate feedback loop, right? What do I mean by helping to accelerate feedback loop? This means that when you automate, so automated test actually provides immediate feedback to developers who actually deploy, or sorry, push their codes to a version control system, maybe on Git, GitLab, or Bitbucket, whatever. But yeah, any of these platforms, right? So when developers actually push their code, test automation helps to give them immediate reports on how this code they've deployed or how this code they've pushed is performing. Is it causing an issue to an existing system code, or to an existing code base, right? So with automated tests, they are able to like get immediate reports or immediate feedback on what they have pushed, even if it's one line of code. That one line of code, has it in any way broken anything, right? So that's the what I mean by accelerate immediate feedback. So this test automation helps to actually achieve this in DevOps practices. The next one is consistency and reliability. So with automated tests, there is consistency, there is reliability. So we are able to, we know that there's no human error that has occurred in our test, right? What do I mean by this? If we have to like test our code manually every time, or the changes we made every time, at some point you might have some issue due to human errors. And like as a QA person, I might be testing, and maybe at that point in time, I'm not in the right frame of mind to actually, maybe I tested before and it's actually working, and then there's probably a change in the code, or there's an update. So the person might not be in the right frame of mind to actually test it properly to ensure 100%. Of course, testing does not actually ensure 100% bug-free applications, but yeah, to an extent, maybe 90 or 99% or 90 something percent, right? But with automated testing, you are sure that, well, what that test that you've added to your pipeline or your DevOps flow is consistent, right? Is reliable. It doesn't have mood swings. It cannot just wake up one morning and change, right? Except you have made a change to it, except you have done something to it, right? So it gives a more consistent and reliable flow, right? Then the next thing is test automation enables continuous integration. Now, what do I mean by continuous integration? Continuous integration involves developers being able to merge a working copies of their code to a central repository, where probably the company's repository where they merge their code, or where their code base is lying or is situated, right? Several times a day, like as multiple times as possible. So that is what continuous integration means, right? But with test automation, it helps to ensure that as we are integrating this code, we are actually, the test is there to actually validate that there's no breaking, that this code has not in any way broken an existing functionality, right? Thereby making integration process smooth and less risky, right? The other one is it also facilitates continuous delivery. So test automation facilitates continuous delivery. And what is continuous delivery? Continuous delivery is like an extension of CI, like an extension of the continuous integration. Now, what this means is ensuring that our code or your code is at a deployable state at every point in time, right? So with test automation, you are sure that this code that is at a deployable state, you are confident that it is error-free or defect-free, right? With test automation, because your test automation, if there's an error, your test automation will not pass that state, will not allow it, pass a certain stage, right? Depending on your setup, which we would actually talk in the later part of this presentation. The next one is it supports infrastructure as a code. What do I mean by supporting infrastructure as a code? So in DevOps, infrastructure and configurations are managed as code, right? You don't have to like necessarily manually do setup of, do your configurations manually or all of that. So it is done as a code. Now, automated test ensures that changes to these infrastructural scripts, or the scripts that are responsible for this particular, for your setup and your infra, do not in any way affect how your environment setup or your infrastructure, basically, right? Thereby supporting a reliable and a consistent infrastructural deployment, right? The next thing is okay. So the next thing we have, sorry, yeah, okay. So contributions of DevOps to continuous testing. Now, so the whole aim of not the whole aim, but yeah, one of the key components of DevOps is continuous testing, like I stated before, right? So DevOps actually have a lot of contributions to continuous testing, and some of them are the early testing, early and frequent testing, sorry, broad test coverage, your parallel testing, continuous monitoring, and reporting. I know that, sorry, so what do I mean by early testing or early and frequent testing? So this means that when you have automated tests integrated in your CI/CD pipeline, it allows for testing to occur several times or multiple times, or at different stages of your development, be it at the unit level, integration, whatever level, basically. But you can actually have early and frequent testing, like I mentioned earlier, where when developers actually push their code, they already have feedback on what their code is looking like over there. Is it breaking something? Is it causing some error or whatever? And they're able to actually fix it immediately. The next one is broad test coverage. So with test automation allows for a broad range of tests carried to be executed, right, efficiently. And some of these tests could be your functional testing, your security testing, your performance testing, and including the compliance testing, right? Then the next one is parallel testing. Now, with test automation in your DevOps flow, you can actually carry out parallel testing. What do I mean by parallel testing? You can actually carry out testing on multiple platforms, multiple browsers, multiple systems and environment, right? Without having to do it individually. So you can actually do these things at a time, right? Thereby saving time and resources. I don't know, but yeah. The next thing is continuous monitoring and reporting, right? What does this mean? So automated test actually helps to generate detailed reports for your tests. So with automated tests, you can actually get detailed reports of what is happening in your tests. So when you automate this flow, you can even automate them and integrate some of your communication tools to like get these reports sent to them either via your email or Slack integration and whatever, right? But with this, with DevOps, you can actually achieve this. Then the next thing is reducing manual effort, right? So test automation actually helps to reduce repetitive. So when you automate repetitive tasks or tasks that are time consuming, it helps the team to actually focus more on the most complex situations or most creative aspect of testing. and the development. So your team are able to channel their energy on something that is more critical and more that requires the creativity of a human being to actually achieve that. Then the next, the next slide, I talked about the strategies to integrating automated tests in our DevOps flow. Now, what do I mean by this? So, I mean, we are talking about the main topic is implementation of test automation in DevOps. Now, here I'm actually talking about the actual strategies of how to go about integrating or implementing your test automation in DevOps flow, right? And the first thing I pointed out here is you have to develop a comprehensive test automation plan. Now, what does this mean? You have to actually define your objective, define your scope, define your goals, what you intend to achieve, what kind of test you want to have, what is your scope of testing for this particular, for the application that you're working on or the software that you're building, right? So you have to make out time, plan what you intend to achieve using by automating this particular your application. Check the scope of application of what you want to automate, right? And it could be that you have your unit test, you want to have your integration test, you want to have end-to-end test, you want to have API, whatever type of testing basically. But it's left for you to actually decide. Then the next thing is to actually select the right tools for your automation. And this is where Scandium comes in, right? Scandium, like Ben said in the beginning, is a no-code test automation tool. It's actually an amazing tool. Like, I came across it not long ago, and going through their documentation, I found that it's actually an amazing tool that you can actually use for your regression test, your end-to-end testing, your API testing, right? Without even having to stress yourself too much. And you don't have to know how to code to be able to have this tests automated, right? Using Scandium. Then you can also, there are other tools like Selenium, Cypress, and all other tools, but these tools, remember, you have to know how to code to use them. But I mean, Scandium is taking off that fear of, I don't know how to code, how do I automate, right? So it's an amazing tool, and I advise we check it out and see if you're a QA person or if you work in a team that actually needs to automate your tools. Then the next thing is integrating testing into your CI/CD pipeline. So the first thing I mentioned here, or what do I mean by this, is you have to ensure that your test execution is automated. What do I mean by your test execution is automated? Ensure that your test is triggered as part of your CI/CD pipeline. So you have to find a way to put it in your pipeline, right? If you're using, for instance, your company is using GitHub Action, then make sure that you have a GitHub Action set up for your automated test, such that once there is a push or once there's changes to your code base, the test is triggered, right, to run. So this is what I mean by automate your test execution phase. So you don't have to be there to execute your test manually. No, you have to automate your process, your execution phase. Then the next thing is stage your testing appropriately. Now, what do I mean by staging your test appropriately? You have to, so when you're adding your tests to your CI/CD pipeline, there are different stages to, you can decide to have different stages where this test can run. Not a single test, but you can decide to have different tests, different levels of testing, and at different stages where they should run, right? So for some people, they might set up their pipeline, have unit tests, have integration tests, have end-to-end testing run, have performance testing, And these tests would run at each of their own stages and bring a report. So if your code fails at unit testing phase, it doesn't move to the next stage. It actually pauses there and tells you that there's an error. Please go back. So you go back and actually look at what is happening, right? And Scandium actually provides an amazing setup. I think I have like an example of their setup with Azure DevOps, right? So with Scandium, you don't need to be scared that you can automate your test and then you cannot add it to your CI/CD pipeline. And honestly, before Scandium, I didn't know that some of these no-code tools can actually be added to CIC integrated into a CI/CD pipeline. But I've seen that with Scandium, right? And I mean, it's amazing. You can check out their documentation and see. And on my next slide, I took a screenshot of an example of their YAML file, which is the setup for putting your tests or adding your test as a part of your CI/CD pipeline. So this is an example of their YAML file for somebody who is using Azure DevOps as their CI/CD integration tool. So this is an example of what it looks like, but if you go to their documentation, you can see more of that. And and they actually support a lot of other tools, not just the Azure DevOps. They have support for Jenkins, Circle CI, GitLab CI, GitHub Actions, and whatnot. And if peradventure you don't, you have a tool that you're using in your organization and you didn't see it in their documentation, you can actually reach out to them. I hope that is allowed, Ben, but I think I saw it on your documentation page that you can actually reach out to them via Slack to get your, to inform them. I don't know. Ben, I hope I'm correct.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Okay. So after making sure that you have your testing integrated into your CI/CD pipeline, the next thing is to maintain a robust test environment. So, and what do I mean by this? What I mean is that you have to ensure that your test environment is robust, right? You can use tools like Docker, like is a containerization tool. So you can use them. You can use your infra as a code to automate your different provisioning and configuration of your test of your environment or infrastructure. Then the next one is ensure data consistency, like managing your data, ensuring that it is consistent and you have control, or you can control them, right? And you can achieve this using data versioning and seeding strategies, right? Then the next thing is optimizing your test suite. So one of the principles of testing states that when you, I think it's pesticide paradox? Yeah, but when you have to like repeat the same test over and over without having to update your test, then at some point the test would not be finding issues for you anymore. Like you can't find issues with them anymore. So and this is the same principles that is applied here. So you have to like make sure that you do a regular review and update on your test cases to ensure that it covers most critical part of your application. And the critical functionalities of your application are covered. And when you do this, you actually make sure that you prioritize tests or you prioritize the aspects of the application that are critical, right? Then the next thing is fostering collaboration and communication. So like I also stated before, that one of the components of DevOps is communication and collaboration, right? So it is very good that to achieve whatever, or as part of your strategies, you have to like encourage collaboration, encourage communication among your developers, among your testing team, among the operations team, to ensure that your tests are actually comprehensive and includes, and make sure that you include this particular test automation as part of done or definition of done. I don't know how some other people use, but if you're using Jira, for example, as your product management tool, they have different columns where you have open tasks, in progress, testing, whatever, and then done, right? So before you can say that this particular feature or this particular functionality is done and is ready to be pushed for deployment, make sure that test automation is added as part of that definition of done. Before you can say that something is done, make sure that test automation is part of it. And this, implementing these strategies, which actually helps, right? So that you are sure that this application, you are confident, in short, in what you're deploying. That's the whole essence of DevOps, test automation, and all of that. Then the next one is having a continuous feedback, right? Have continuous feedback. So it is good to try and implement real-time reporting. And with Slack integration, like I mentioned before, you have real-time integration, right? You can actually do that to integrate it to your CI/CD pipeline. That's if your team is using Slack as their communication tool, right? You can use it to get immediate feedbacks on what is happening on your test, on your automated test in your DevOps pipeline or your DevOps process. So you can do integration with Slack, you can do email notifications and alerts, right? So your teams are alerted when they make a push and then your automated test fails for any reason or succeeds, right? You get this notification that, okay, this has passed, right? And I know somebody might be wondering, how do we, because in some, especially in Nigerian companies, you have to not just Nigerian companies anyways, over time or throughout my experience as a QA person, sometimes the hardest thing that you actually see is get the time. You don't even have enough time to finish testing, not to talk of automating the test and then deploying it, especially when you have to write code to automate that test, right? And I think, again, this is where Scandium plays a very vital role, because you just have to record your procedures, your manual procedures, and then it's, and then it automates the process for you in just minutes and seconds. Let me just over exaggerate. In just minutes, right? You already have your flow automated, right? And then you can add it to your CI/CD pipeline, and you just go and relax and rest. So yeah, the next one is continuous improvement and learning. So one of the strategies you actually have to keep in mind is continuous improvement. So it's actually very important to encourage collaboration conduct regular reviews among your teams. I said collaboration. So conduct regular reviews among your teams, or your team, be it the developers, the testers, the operations team. Ensure that you perform audits, ensure that you provide resources for trainings, upskilling, right? For learning, right? They should be able to keep up with new technologies, new tools that are out there to help enhance achieving this goal of a smooth accomplishment of your DevOps process, right? So with the right information, with the right skills, it go a long way to help achieving this, right, in your team. And the last one, but not the least, is leveraging testing, advanced testing techniques. And what I mentioned, two major techniques here, which is shift left testing and the shift right testing. And what do I mean by shift left testing? So this type of testing means is a type of test or is a technique that emphasizes involving testing at the very beginning of your software development process or software development lifecycle. I mean, and by very beginning, I mean from the initial phase, which is your requirements gathering. I think I've used more of time. So let me just round up. So and then the other one, the shift right testing, involves having testing even after you've deployed to production. Make sure that you have tests readily available in your production environment to monitor and validate the application in real world scenarios, so that when things change or when they are actually, when there's a discrepancy in what you have on production, you can actually, the test can actually catch it and find out. So this is what I mean by shift right testing. So shift right testing is testing that put in place at the end, like in your production. And then the shift left is testing from the initial phase of your software development lifecycle. I think this is where my my presentation comes to an end. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, the next one is the link to my LinkedIn. So you guys can follow me on LinkedIn if you have to. So Ben, I think I'm done. I don't know if there are
All
any
right.
questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Onuorah Mary. That's a very insightful one. So now we'll just go over to Q&A. So if we have any questions, please raise your hands. Okay, we have Anika. Please go ahead, Anika.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much for this knowledge sharing. Right, it's really insightful and really impressive. Yeah, I want to ask a question. Right, this is not concerning what you talked about automation and deployment. Just a question that I want to have an insight about. In So now you join a new company, right, and they are telling you to automate, and you don't have any requirements, you don't have anything. The developers are not using the right elements or the right locators for your automation, right? So how do you go about it in making sure that that they actually look for the right locators or elements to put right while automating, so that when there's a change in production, it will not affect, you know, the existing locators or the new locators that you have added. So what's the best approach to this?
Okay, if I get your, let me reiterate so that I'm sure that I get your question clearly. So you mean you joined a new team and then you're expected to automate, but then there's no proper locator that you can actually use for automation, and you intend for them to like add a new locator. So you're asking a way for them to do it without it affecting the existing one. Is that your question?
So it's more like I'm telling the developers, I want you to start using these locators, right?
Okay.
And they say, no, we can't start using it because this is not what we started using from the beginning,
Okay.
right? And the team wants you to use the best locators. So how do you go about that? Do you reach out or do you go into the code base and start modifying locators of some elements, or what's the best approach you can use?
Okay. So I think the first thing is to understand what works for your company. I've had an experience, a similar experience in my last role at Morales, and I actually go into the code base myself and add a locator, right? So I add locators that work for me, and it is used for testing alone. Like, so I use it for automated test, right? So I started doing it. So sometimes some developers remember to add it, some they don't. But if I find out they don't, I already have permission to actually go into the code base and edit the locator. Not editing, add my own, that particular locator, like a data test ID, right? So it depends. If you have the permission to do that, you can do that. But if you don't, then you can actually talk to have a conversation with your development team, making sure that probably the engineering manager, I don't know who is the highest authority in your development team, probably the engineering managers for some people or the team lead, and then if you have a QA lead, if not, then you do the talking yourself, right? And make them see reasons why you actually have to add a particular type of locator that you can actually use to make sure that you are able to achieve automation freely, effectively, and efficiently, right? Another thing you can do is that if they have some locators, of which obviously I know that they should probably have classes or things like that, but then maybe you're concerned about these things changing, right? We have several types of element locators that enables you be able to actually locate elements, right? There are a lot of them actually that helps you to actually look, even dynamic locators, you can actually be able to locate them, right? I don't know if I'm answered your question, but yeah, you can do any of
Okay,
the three.
thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
And somebody said a mature framework could do in the comment section. And I think, yeah, a tool that actually you don't need to, a tool that also does, except maybe you have to you need to write code and is a must, but you can also convince your company to probably make use of automation tools that does not require you to start stressing yourself out to, look for locators and selectors. They actually already have a way of doing that. So you can maybe convince them to use tools like maybe Scandium and any other tool you think you'd like to help with automating and making your life easier. Yeah. So I don't know any other question. Yeah, the Selenium IDE too.
Oh yeah, thank you for that. Abib, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. And thank you also for the wonderful presentation.
You're welcome.
So I have a question. Is more like two questions in one. So the first one is, how much of DevOps do you think a QA engineer needs to know? Because it's looking like if you have to do automation, then you have to know DevOps. So how much of it do you need to know? Then the second part of it is there are times that you need to schedule runs. Like you want your test to run, you want to use it more like a cron job. Maybe you want it to run every 12 a.m., for instance. Is it possible to use a no-code tool, maybe like Scandium, to do that too?
Okay, thank you for your questions. So your first question is how much of DevOps do you need to know as a QA person? So my answer to that would be as much as you need to be able to automate your test and automate the execution flow of your test and the reporting as well. So you need to know as much as to be able to write your automated tests, add it to your pipeline, right? Or create one if they don't have one. You should be able to create one and then have it run, because it's your responsibility actually to make sure that your automated test runs. It's not enough to automate tests and just have it, just be like, okay, I've automated tests. No, that's not, automation is not done there. That's not where automation ends. Your automation goes beyond just automating your test. The adding it to your pipeline, so automating the execution of that test is also part of automation. So you should be able to know DevOps to the point that you can automate your test execution phase and have it run as frequent as possible and return a response. Then the next question is if you have to like schedule so all those ones are actually set up. I don't think it is not a tool dependent thing. It's the it depends on the way you want to set up your cron job, your YAML file, right? So you can, it's not dependent on the tool. So it has
Hi,
nothing to do
Mary.
whether, oh, so sorry, Ben, you have
Do you
something?
mind if I come in there for a bit?
Yeah, sure, please.
All right. So when it has to do with scheduling of your test and test suite, Scandium provides that for you, like in just few easy steps. And also just to reiterate or just to address the question that was being asked about locators also. Yes, Scandium helps with flaky locators too, and also. So these two features that you're looking for, you can find them on Scandium, just easy peasy. So, like I said, you can schedule a session with Scandium and we'll get to demonstrate all of these for you to see how they work also.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. And I hope that that clears your fears and doubts about the
Yeah,
um
Scandium is here for you.
so yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All
Very,
right.
very wonderful.
So while we wait for other people to ask their question, I'll just go to the question I have in the chat box. Earlier, when you were speaking, somebody said, "What are the differences between DevOps and DevRel?" They're asking if they are the same thing.
Dev
DevOps and DevRel.
DevRel.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, please, I would need to see the question so that I see the pronunciation and
Yeah,
the spelling
it's
and
it's in the chat box. It's in the chat box.
DevRel. Okay, so okay. So DevOps and DevRel, I mean, you mean, I don't know who asked the question, but do you mean developer relations?
Yeah, I think that's what the person was trying to say. DevOps and developer relations.
Okay. So I don't think they are the same thing. I mean, for DevOps, we are talking about we're talking about, like, the way I define DevOps, talked about practice, talked about tools, talked about a cultural shift, right? So we talk about collaboration between the development team and the operations team, but developer relation is talking about building relationships between tech companies and developer community, like developers community. I don't know. So I don't think they are not the same thing, actually. No, that's what I think. Well, I don't know if there are
All right.
other, I don't know if there are contrary opinions to that.
Yeah, thank you. They are not the same thing, yes. You just mentioned it. It has to do with the relations between a product and the developers trying to get to use those products.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much. The second question we have here. So, while I'm taking these questions, please, if you have any questions and you're shy to speak, you can put them in the chat box before we move on to the next phase. So while we're waiting for that, you just have 1 minute to do that. So while we're waiting for that, the second question says, does testing QA similar to DevOps? So this morning I was going through a course on DevOps and you mentioned that a lot of things said here today too. This is very interesting. I was thinking, what was the difference? Okay, so I think the person is trying to ask the difference between testing QA and the similarities between testing QA and DevOps.
Yeah, similarities between testing QA and test. Is it testing in DevOps now or testing
I think it should be testing in DevOps.
in
Should be,
DevOps.
yeah.
So I think the major similarity is testing. We're still talking about testing, right? So testing, QA as in testing, most QAs focus on testing the application, right? But then in DevOps, it's not just the application; it goes beyond the application. Now it's more of the infrastructure, the the infrastructure basically. And I think I mentioned it when I was explaining, when I was talking in my slide. So DevOps is not just about the application itself, the functionality of the application. It's not focusing on the application and the functionality. It's focusing on the structure, the operational structure, the infrastructure that is set in place a to help for easy deployment and continuous integration of these particular applications. So when we talk of testing in that aspect, we are talking about testing these infrastructures and all of that, and making sure that they are still in good shape, they are still the way they should work, they are doing what they should do, right? But testing for QA is majorly focusing on the application, the functional. But then I think all of them can still, some people can still do that.
All right. Thank you. So one final question. Somebody's asking in the chat box, what's the difference? What differentiates a tester and a QA?
Okay. Yeah. So what differentiates a tester from a QA, or what is the difference between both of them? So a tester is somebody who tests application, tests softwares, mobile, web, whatever, API, all of that. So they just focus on testing. So it's more like, I don't know if I should call it quality control now, right? They more like they test this application. In fact, they are more on the when you talk about just tester, it means the person is just making sure that this application is just is fine. Okay, doing like more of pass or fail, right? You want to test that this application passed, it failed, there's a bug, find the bug, and all of that. But QA goes beyond that. Now, what do I mean by QA goes beyond that? QA person is more of it's not just testing to find bug, but the person is more of implementing processes that would that would help to ensure a long-term quality when it comes to software delivery. So this person wears the shoe of, like, wears the cap or the crown of a tester, a product manager, a developer. So they are more of process, right? And they are ensuring that we have a standard process that signifies quality, or that ensures that we are building the right product and building it in a correct way. I don't know if that's answered your question, or do you want me to explain more?
Yeah, that's a thumbs up. That's a thumbs up. So I think that answers his question. So I just found another interesting question from the chat box, and it's a scenario question. So this is from Celestine Sundays. He says, there's a customer that I am supporting with integration. So he says he's an application support engineer. His application works fine in development and sandbox environment, but didn't work in production environment. Please, what could be the root cause of this behavior?
He said the application works fine in development and
Sandbox, yeah,
but don't work
but
in
doesn't
environment.
production.
Please, what could
Yes,
be the
please.
root cause of this behavior? Wow. So I don't know what could be the cause, right? But what I would say is, yeah, because I know I've come across some funny situations like that where a developer is saying something is working on my local or on my development environment, but then it's not working on the other environment, right? And it could be anything could be the reason actually. So I don't know if I should say a particular reason is the root cause. The only thing is that you just have to like debug and try to find what the solution is. Somebody's hand is up.
Okay, so let me just add to the question, right? So there are few things that could happen if things are working fine on your local or on staging, and on production it's not working as expected. Number one, it can be your environment, right? The environment that has been configured by the DevOps team. Maybe there is a variable that was missing, or probably the build was not integrated very well, that was working well on local, and on the production environment it stopped working. So it can be also your sandbox can maybe have your local configuration set up by the DevOps team, and DevOps team fails to do a code variable on the environment, which is the production environment. So some things can happen like that, and it can be due to the build that was given to you, not properly tested before usage by the users, right? So I feel that if it is deployed first, the QA should be the first person to test it first before it goes out to users. So yeah, that can be one of the reasons too.
Yeah, I think Umo did justice to that question or to that. I mean, and there could be a lot of reasons, right? But yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mary. Thank you for answering, and thank you, Umo and Ekan, for your contribution, and every other person that asked question. So just before we move on, do not forget, maybe you joined when I mentioned this, but you can check out our social media platforms to interact with us at Get Scandium on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can also check out our website at www.getscandium.com to know more about Scandium. All right, so I would like to bring to your notice that we have do you need a career boost in quality assurance? We have a fellowship ongoing. The applications are currently ongoing for mid-level QA professionals that want a career boost. So with this now, you can register at fellowship.getscandium.com. And the application deadline is June 9th of 2024. You can follow this link and just register for advancement. And also, Scandium is currently hiring. I think, yeah, we're hiring. So we're hiring for a senior QA engineer, and you can check out the opening at our career webpage. Just visit www.getscandium.com and navigate to the career webpage. If you're a suitable candidate or you know someone who is a senior QA engineer, they can actually check out our career page to apply for this opening.
So can I apply?
Hey,
Okay.
you can refer, please.
Why?
All right, so this is a quick commercial break. Before we move on to our trivia and games, there are lots of things to be won on this game today, on this platform today, rather. So before we go further to our trivia and games with all of the goodies, we'd like to proceed with giving you a short video of a demonstration of Scandium. So we'll be playing a video shortly, and We hope you enjoy this short break before we move on to the trivia and games.
Hi. So today I'm going to be showing you how to integrate Scandium into your CI/CD workflow. So I'll be assuming you already have a test on Scandium. You've created a test suite on Scandium, and you've run your test a couple of times, so you're already familiar with the platform. So Scandium makes it very easy to integrate into virtually any CI/CD integration tool, whether it's Azure, GitHub Actions, Bitbucket Pipeline, Jenkins, CircleCI, and so on. So the code is fairly familiar and similar across all of these platforms. I'll be using GitHub Actions as an example, but there'll probably be other videos sometimes to show you how to do it in Azure and all of these other tools. So this is a piece of code you need to integrate your Scandium suite into your CI/CD pipeline. So we're making a call request. We'll be replacing these three parameters: your API token, which you can get from your profile, the project ID, that is the project that contains the suite you want to run, and then the ID of the suite you want to run. You can also specify if you want Scandium to take screenshots while executing this particular suite. So quickly, I'll show you how to get these three parameters from your profile. So first off, to get the project ID, once you come to your list of projects, you can easily copy the ID of the project. You replace it in the CI/CD code. Then to get your account token, you come to your profile here. Then you simply copy the API token. Then to get the ID of the suite, go to your list of suites and then click on the options, then copy suite ID. You can replace these parameters in here, and then you have your test running. Also, you have this little piece of code to check for success or failure of the execution in the pipeline. So with this, you can decide if to proceed to the next job in the pipeline or not. See, very simple, very easy, no stress.
All right, so we hope that was insightful. And finally, for the final session of the day.
Hi. So today I'm going to.
And for the final session of the day, we are going to get right into winning cash prizes from our trivia games. So if you want to join this game, you can scan the QR code on your screen, or you can actually visit the link that is being displayed on your screen to join the game. So we just have less than 5 minutes to do that, so we can get this game started. Okay, keep joining. Okay, so I would also be dropping the link in the chat box. So for those that So the link is in the chat box. For those that want easy accessibility, you can get the link in the chat box and join the game before the game begins. All right, so we're going to go ahead now with the games. So Ibrahim, shall we?
No, give us more time.
All right, so we just have 1 minute extra. We've used more of our expected time. So just 1 minute. Please, we're waiting for you. We still have 18 players ready.
See, my
Just
browser is loading. Don't know.
okay, we have somebody dropped off again. All right, 19. We have the link in the chat box. So we have the link in the chat box. Just copy the link and join the trivia. Okay, so we're having it in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let the games begin. Remember, it's fastest finger. Okay, interesting. So here's our leaderboard, and we have Gerard on the lead. Gerard on the lead. Okay, getting ready for question 2. Gerard, watch your back. Beyonce is coming for you. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see. Okay. Gerard is still on the lead. And we're on our third question. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Okay. Wow. This is a tight one. It's a stiff neck between Gerard and Beyonce. Let's have it. What's happening? Nobody wants to dethrone Gerard. Beyonce, we're counting on you. We're rooting for you. Okay. Oh no, D&D. That was sent by Rema. D&D. Nice one there. Yay, Fatolu, nice one, nice one. Gerard, watch your back. We are coming for you. Overtaking is allowed. One person cannot stay at the top forever. Just in case you're sleeping and you need reminder, this is question 8. We only have 2 more questions, or else Gerard will have it. It's never too late. Oshe, D&D too bad. D&D, I see potentials. You can do this. Okay, so this is question 9. Question 9, second to the last question. Oh, it's like Gerald, you have to introduce us to that Baba that is doing it for you. Because what is this? Yeah. And final question. We have question 10 of 10. Final question. Fatulu, we're rooting for you. D&D, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
This last question is a weird question, actually.
Oh yeah, leave it for us. Leave it for us.
But I ain't leaving it for anybody.
Away. Ha. Please, Oye, come and tell us your secret, bro. Come and tell us your secret, please. Because
I
what
swear,
is this?
it's like
What
this
is this?
Ayamaka.
I'm telling you
What
what
is
you
this?
just did there is juju.
Now, throw me.
This is flawless.
Well done, Jerry.
Uh-uh.
Question
Oh.
110.
Like, you
I've
as if
listened to the questions
he
before.
was seeing the
It's like
question before.
Usain Bolt is your brother or is your mentor. All right, congratulations, Gerard. Nice one. Please, Ibrahim, do you want to display the leaderboard?
Sorry, is this Mentimeter free? Is this a free tool?
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay.
Somebody said the last question was weird. Why?
I'm the one that said it. Like most of the questions you have to read and read before. respond. So the last why I said is weird is because I know you talked about it, but I really don't recall what you said. I just used intuition.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Congrats, Gerard. Congrats, Gerard. And thanks everyone for participating. So, Gerard, you have yourself a prize from Scandium. So, what you need to do is, are you on our Slack community channel, Gerard?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so you will need to join our Slack community channel for you to retrieve your prize, or else, Utilo. Do you understand that?
It cannot go like that now. Because they love me.
Uh-huh. Confirm. So you need to
Gerald, do it.
join.
Let me join for you.
Just
You
share,
need to join.
just share the link with me. I'll join the community.
Yeah, so you need to join our community on our Slack channel. So in the chat box, we're going to drop all of the links that you need to join. And this is for every other person too. For you to stay updated with what's going on with Scandium and our next and our upcoming test drive and all of that, you need to join our community. So the links for those will be dropped in the chat box. Okay, yeah, we have it in the chat box. So with that, you should be able to have access to our Slack community. And we hope to see you guys there. So there we share knowledge, not just knowledge, we share opportunities. You get to network with people from diverse industries still in the QA and so forth and so on. All your expectations are met.
The link,
Gerard, when you join the community, please ensure to DM Ibrahim. Send a
the link,
message.
the
Send a
link is
message.
the link is not active.
Okay, so a moment, taking a look at it.
And I want to keep my prize.
Gerald.
Okay, so you can check. We just dropped another link in the chat box. So ensure to follow the link to our Slack community channel. So while we're doing that, we also have to remind you that you can follow us on all our social media platforms at Get Scandium on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Okay, so what next? Join us for our next month test drive sessions. You can visit app.getscandium.com to have a first-hand experience of Scandium all by yourself and share feedback and book a demo session with our team. And we'll be there to walk you through of any questions you have about Scandium. And also do not forget to follow us and engage our post on all social media platforms. Thank you all for joining this session. I remain my humble self, Benjamin, and looking forward to receiving calls from all of you and your respective companies. Please, if you don't call, they will not pay me salary. I'm begging. Please. God bless you.
Thank you, Ben. And don't worry, they'll pay you because I know that a lot of people here are already in love with Scandium.
Yeah, sure. And thank you, Mary, for your session too. It was a very insightful one.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to seeing you. And please, you can also share your slide if you have the link to your slide, you can share it on the chat box so people can also follow you on LinkedIn also and get to learn more from your posts.
All
Right.
right. Let me share the link.
Okay, so the link to the slides will be in the chat box.
Okay. There you go. Sorry, my system is beginning to slow down. Yeah, it's on the short. Sorry, guys.
All right, thank you, Mary. So we have the link to Mary's slide. You can through the link shared in the chat box. So thank you all once again for joining, and we hope to see you guys for our next test drive sessions.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Mary, for the presentation. Thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gerard, for winning
Yeah,
our
thank you,
audience.
Mary.
Yeah, thank you, Ibrahim. I've sent you a DM on Slack.
Thank you so much. Have a pleasant day.
Yeah, thank you, Quantum.
Bye.
Bye.